Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of Industry News. As the title says, we're going to talk about Trek buying another 10 stores. One is a 2-store chain and one is an 8-store chain. And it continues this small business, the extinction of small businesses, and the LBS, the local bike shop that was family owned and now is becoming a corporate entity, in this case, Trek buying it. So I want to read a couple of comments from each of these. And as always, I just want to read it and quote it properly so that there is no errors in me providing you the industry news. So the first store that I want to talk to you about is American Cycle and Fitness. Now they are, after 30 plus years in the bicycle business with dry eyes and a bright outlook, decided to sell American Cycle and Fitness to our longtime partner and supplier, Trek Bicycles. All right, so 30 years. This is a pretty long time. But more importantly, this business has been in business since 1920s. Now, I don't know how many years they were in one location, but you can kind of imagine that they didn't move around a lot. I wouldn't think anyway. So one of the owners started with the store in 1993 with one of its locations in Pontiac, and then Grand Ledge, Grosse Pointe, Macomb, I guess is how you pronounce that, Macomb Township, Okemos, Royal Oak, and Walled Lake. So this is an 8-store chain that's now being sold to Trek. And of course, they glowingly say, "Oh, we're excited about the next chapter of our life. We don't know what we're going to do," that kind of thing. But we're so happy that Trek is going to keep the staff on, and business should resume as normal, as usual, I guess you'd say, because nothing's normal, right? So. I don't know, 8 stores going to the ever-growing Trek empire. Now, they are, of course, they're close to their home in Wisconsin, so I guess maybe you start from your Wisconsin headquarters and you keep growing concentric circles out, and you own everything, and maybe that's their play. Not sure. But I want to read about this other store because I thought this was a little bit more interesting. That article was really kind of short, and that was posted August 14th, I believe. And so the one I'm going to read from now is from a August 12th posting. And this is in the Virginia area, and it's a 2-store location. And, they talk about how they're going through the inventory and all that stuff. So they have 2 stores. They have one in Blacksburg and one in Roanoke. And the Blacksburg location is 2,200 feet. That opened in 1974, and then a 4,800 square foot store opened in 1993. The shop has been a Trek dealer for more than 25 years. So, if you've been shopping at these stores, you've already been indoctrinated into Trek product, Bontrager, Gary Fisher, I guess LeMond. Going back, if you go back 25 years, they would have been selling LeMond product as well, Greg LeMond. So it's something you are already used to. And, so each of the 2 owners, one's been around since the mid-90s and one since the mid-80s. But this is the interesting part, that it's possible that this is the impetus for these business owners to sell out. And I don't mean it in a negative way, but just to sell their business. We have had this great upswing over the last couple of years. This is a record year for us, 2022, which is August. 2021 was a record, and 2020 was a record. Yes, the bike boom. And I've talked about this before, about the pendulum swinging in one direction and then the other. So the pendulum swung for 22, 21, and 20. And one thing I know in this business is that it means great downsizing is somewhere around the corner. And we figure that by the time we make it through a downswing and then try to make it back up, that could easily be 10 years down the road to try and get back even close to where we are, and the way the business, and then the way the business is changing. Okay, so this is an opportunity for these business owners who have worked so hard to build a business for so many years, including myself. You have an upswing in the business for 2 to 3 years. You pay down a ton of debt. You do whatever. But things are going to plateau. I mean, the bike boom is over. The earnings for a lot of these companies is not as high anymore. They're not recording these high earnings anymore. So now you've got this plateau. And what if there's a downswing as well? So I understand why they're doing it. One gentleman, I think, is 53 and the other one is 60. So, you know, it's time to be thinking about your exit strategy, right? And I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're saying, well, the business is going into more of a corporate entity type of business. It's, you know, so the small bike shop is no longer viable. And so, but are they adding to that problem by doing that, as I said, as a self-fulfilling prophecy? So they have 10 employees. And, you know, one of the things they said is, well, you know, that now that Trek has taken over, they're going to get, you know, health benefits. So I guess that's a good thing for the employees, right? They will now receive health and retirement benefits through Trek. So as a small business, that's very difficult. I had health benefits in one of the businesses, one of the shops that I used to manage, but that's not common. Okay, so basically it was the sale. The way it happened was, you know, Trek said, hey, if you guys are ever interested in selling, let us know. And then eventually the business owners came back to Trek, hey, are you serious? Because we might consider this. So it took a while, but once they realized, okay, we're quoting again, we started really thinking it through and knowing a downturn is coming and just looking at how that's going to look and the timeline for that. And how old are we going to be through that? And how much is the business going to be changing? Trek has been great through this process and so on and so forth, right? And then they actually added some of their own customers' feedback on this transaction. So one of the things they said, they see it as the death of a small business, which I guess it is. But that's just the way things are heading. Overwhelmingly, I think when people find that all of the staff is staying on, that changes everything. I don't know. I want to hear from you folks. Are you in Blacksburg or Roanoke? Or are you in Michigan, Grosse Pointe, and you know, where are these other locations here? Grosse Pointe, Grand Ledge, Pontiac. You know, what are your thoughts? Are you being impacted by these stores becoming a Trek corporate store? And do you like the idea? I'd like to know. Are you a Trek fan person and you are absolutely ecstatic that Trek is now the corporate owner of your local bike shop? Okay, Please like and subscribe.
It's 12 o'clock.
It's 12 o'clock. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you up the road.